Hi, I hope everyone's having a wonderful day today. Let's get some message cards and see what the person on your mind wants you to know right now from their higher self. So the first one that we have is I abandoned our connection out of fear. So it feels like someone who has taken a step back from this connection, maybe made up some excuses as far as like why they're busy, why they can't hang out, why they have to get off the phone or get off the chat with you very quickly, or they've just gone full ghost mode on you. There's a sense of regretting how they handled things, regretting impulsivity, or letting fear get the better of them. It feels like this is somebody that is really in their head at this particular point in time, like, I acted too impulsively, what was I thinking? Fearing that they have like messed up in this connection to where it's gonna take some big effort on their part in order to kind of like win your trust back. There's a sense of regretting that they've messed up the momentum that you had going with one another, a sense of like fearing having to explain themselves, some of their motivations that weren't necessarily the reasons that they had given you, or if they'd given no reason at all. There's a sense of, I can't just show back up to this person and act as if nothing has happened. I'm gonna need to express myself. I'm gonna need to explain myself in a way that I'm not used to doing, or I wish it didn't have to like happen this way. But there's a sense of they don't want to miss out on an opportunity with you, or they've been able to kind of calm those fears inside of them. Maybe about the intensity of the connection, somebody who feared getting hurt, somebody it feels like also that has kind of a fear of commitment in general, but there's a sense that they see that you are a rare person, you are an exceptional person, and they don't want to let that fear sabotage the opportunity that they have to build something with you. I have so much to tell you. So in the time apart, it feels like they have come to some kind of deeper understanding. Not that they want the distance and the silence between the two of you to compound and multiply, but there's almost a sense of, I want to diminish all of that. I want to work to build closeness with you. You have slipped through my fingers in some sort of way, or like I've pushed you away or run away. And this is somebody who like recognizes what they had now that it's at a distance, now that access to you is a little harder to come by, or you may be sort of skeptical, you may be on guard with them and like efforts that they make, or times where they're kind of reaching out with communication, sort of like a hot and cold energy. You're remembering sort of when you opened up to them before and what they had done. If this is like a repetitive cycle of back and forth, there's a sense of you're gonna have to do better this time. We're not repeating those same cycles. They see you as somebody who's really taken the lead in this situation in terms of you're holding fast to your boundaries. You may have given them some kind of ultimatum, like if you walk away, if you do this to me again, you better not come back, or you better come back with like a really good explanation, because I'm tired of this kind of round and round with you. I'm tired of not knowing where we stand, getting comfortable, and then having your fears get the better of you. Even if you've not stated this overtly, there's almost a sense that they understand that about your energy, about your approach to them now. And so there's a sense of wanting to like ease back into your life, wanting to bring themselves, into a place of relevance with you again. But there's a sense of like, I've come to realize something about the nature of the importance of this connection in this most recent period of time where I've run or I've retreated inside of myself. I don't want to lose you. I don't want to miss out on something beautiful because I was insecure, because I was fearful of commitment, because I was afraid of getting hurt, because I didn't trust myself to be like the caregiver, the, keepsaker of your heart in some kind of way. This might even be somebody that has been going through some kind of stress or pressure in their life, and they could have almost felt like, I'm protecting you and the connection by pushing you away. I'm not in a good headspace right now. Energetically, I'm not in a good space. I'm overwhelmed with things in my life, and it's only going to kind of unfold with you. It's only going to be something that I know myself, or I know my habits, and I would have taken that on you. And so there's almost like a regret that they didn't explain that in some sort of way, or that they didn't trust trust in like what you have with one another, or what you've built with one another, or even who you are as a person, to be able to kind of withstand the shadowy aspects of them. This may be somebody that is accustomed to people who only stick around or really have interest in kind of the sunshine version of them, when they're optimistic, when they're feeling good, when everything's going their way. That's when they have the most success in relationships. But when they are stressed, when they're under pressure, when they're cranky, when they're moody, this can be kind of the breaking point in previous connections, and they almost just assumed the same fate would befall this situation. So it might be somebody that's like pushed you away, or kind of pushed you to a distance, or sort of moved off to a distance themselves, almost like, I don't want you to see this face of me. I don't want you to have to experience this facet of who I am, or how I can get like the person that I turn into when I'm scared, when I'm stressed, when I've got a lot going on. And so there's almost a sense of them recognizing that a wrong choice, a wrong turn was made at that juncture in time, when instead of kind of leaning into this, or allowing you to kind of be that support system, make the choice for yourself as far as like, can you handle it? Can you tolerate them when they're not at their best, when it's not their best foot that they're putting forward? And they almost kind of like took that choice away from you by just assuming the worst. And so they've softened that stance, and it's almost somebody that is like, I should have trusted in you. I should have relied on this connection. I actually do want you in my corner during this difficult period of time, or during this kind of phase when I'm working through some things, or I'm going through some things. I don't want the distance between the two of us to be just kind of one more negative thing in my corner. So it feels like they're getting ready to come forth with some kind of an apology, some kind of an explanation, something that kind of lets you more into their thought process, not as a form of like making excuses, but just so you can almost see the steps that they took, logically speaking, or even reactively speaking, to get to the point of like creating distance between the two of you. That is nothing personal. It's like nothing that you've done. And this is not somebody who just wants to like disconnect from you forever. They want you back in their world. They want you back in their reality. They want you to come closer, or to invite you, back into that closeness, to try and smooth things out and sort of regroup and build towards that harmonious momentum with one another once again. They also say, can we take things slow? I'm guarded. Yeah, so this is somebody that doesn't like trust themselves at this time in this connection. They may be kind of having a lot of conflict with other people in their life. When they get into these moods, when things like this are going on in their world and in their reality, friends and family might even know this person well enough to just like, okay, let's give them some space. Let's give them some distance. They could have a lot of friction or fighting going on with friends and family too. So it may be like work, other interpersonal things. This is almost somebody that feels that the walls are like closing in all around them, or nothing seems to be going their way. And it's almost like they just assume that this connection, wherever you're at with one another, when they took a step back, whether this is kind of a fresh connection, or you've been trying to repair and rebuild, it's almost like, we're not strong enough with one another at this point. I'm just going to assume that we're not, for you to be able to withstand kind of the stormy aspect of me. And so it's a sense of like trying to almost repair certain things, or put certain things in their life right. And one of the first things on that list is the situation with you. Like, if I can't control the outcome in other circumstances in my life, I can certainly control the approach that I'm taking to this situation. Instead of locking you out of my reality, instead of blockading my heart, I want to let those walls down. I want to invite you into this fortress that I've enclosed myself in. And then we can troubleshoot this together. We can problem solve this together. Or at the very least, you represent like a sanctuary for this person, a safe space, to where it's like, at this time where things are not necessarily going right, I yearn for your light. I yearn for your energy. It's a very healing presence. It's something where you almost help to remind them who they are, outside of kind of the version of themselves that they need to become, or that they turn into during times of stress and chaos like what they're going through right now. So it's a sense of almost like a homecoming kind of energy. I want to come home to you. I want to invite you back home into my life. I want us to use this opportunity to try and strengthen our connection, or at least for them to kind of like take a leap of faith to trust in the strength of this connection, and you as a partner or as a potential partner to, again, not just be there to like celebrate in the happy times, but really to give you the opportunity to prove, hey, I'm here with you through thick and thin. You don't always have to be operating at your best, and I'm not going anywhere. They also say, you always know what to say to make me feel better. Yeah, so this person is missing the sound of your voice, missing your conversations. You may have words of wisdom to impart, or they realize in the past they've been able to like open up to you about things, and you're very non-judgmental, or the way in which you help them to kind of find clarity through some kind of like frantic energy, through a stressed out energy. It's like you know how to kind of reach the better part of them. You know how to talk sense into them, into what they're experiencing, into what they're feeling, into what they're going through, even when nothing else in their reality makes sense. And so this is the sense of like, I want you close. I want to be able to like cuddle up with you, literally or even just energetically, and unpack some of what I'm going through, debrief, get that kind of those words of wisdom, that breath of fresh air that you represent in my life. To say, I don't want anyone else but you. So it feels like they're afraid that you might think that in a period where they've gone silent, they've ghosted, or maybe they've kind of like told you, hey, I've got a lot going on, I don't have as much time to invest in this connection, I need to take a step back, whatever that was, you might be almost thinking, is this an excuse? Are they talking to someone else? Is this kind of the long goodbye? Is this sort of the slow discard, and this is like the end for us? And so there's some kind of expression that they want to make, something that they want to make clear to you, that even if they're like wrapped up in the drama of their own life, or really in their head at this particular point in time, romantically, emotionally, all they want is you. They only have eyes for you. You're the person that feels right. You fit with the idea and the reality of like what they're trying to build toward in terms of a long-term future, in terms of partnership, in terms of the person that they want by their side through thick and thin. And they're recognizing kind of an error that was made. Here was an opportunity for, again, like you to prove I'm here for you in those difficult or bad times, or even kind of the strength of the connection to be tested and to succeed, to like pass that test in terms of like, okay, you might be having to carry the bulk of the weight of the belief or the effort at this particular point in time. You may have to be that light at the end of the tunnel for this person, but the connection is strong enough for that. You're a strong enough person to do that, and it's almost like this may sort of have triggered like a trust issue or something within this person where like, I don't feel worthy of somebody showing up for me because I'm always the one having to show up for other people. Or when times get tough, that's when people in my life chronically bail. That's when friends and family take a step back. That's when, past love connections, other lovers have sort of moved on in another direction. And so there's a sense that they really want to course correct and kind of have a soft landing with you, or some kind of an opportunity to reconnect, where you're taking things slow, where the connection is allowed to kind of prove the vastness of itself, of like, yeah, we can both show up kind of as our total selves. We can come as we are, even if that is, not kind of feeling the best, not looking the best, not being in the best headspace. That's just as acceptable. That's just as welcome as the times when everything's positive, everything is going well, everyone's feeling their best. And they also say, I'm walking away from toxic situations. Yeah, so whatever has caused them to kind of take a step back or close off or push you away, they're in the process of like working through all of that, wrapping things off, maybe making some conclusions, cutting people off, different things that have kind of like taken a lot of their attention, taken a lot of their psychic energy, or, their mental energy, or just even like hours of the day where they may have very little time for themselves. It's almost like they're working as hard as they can to get through all of that. They're working as hard as they can in order to kind of open up a new cycle for themselves, turn the page so that it's not just kind of, okay, let's rebuild or try to like, create some sort of closeness with one another, and then I have the same kind of problematic energy going on in my life. I've got the same drama. I'm dealing with the same things. It's almost a sense of they want some kind of renewal with you. They want some kind of reconciliation with you, some kind of smoothing over of hurt feelings, and to sort of use the power of that love, that connection, that closeness with the two of you, to be kind of a guiding light, or something that they can lean upon as they push forward to kind of create better days for themselves, or to get through kind of these times of trouble. You also say, I can feel your energy even when we are apart. So this person may be very deliberately kind of like taking time out of their day to connect with you in meditation. They may be like sending you telepathic messages, astral projecting to you, just anything to kind of like reach for you, to be close to you. Again, there's a lot of regret at not having articulated better their motivations in the past for whatever has created some kind of distance or silence, or just a quiet kind of energy, something where they're very like withdrawn into themselves. It's almost even like, energetically speaking, that's the first step to kind of like reaching for something more between the two of you in the material world, in terms of like a conversation or actions that they take to kind of like, okay, let's get together, let's kiss and make up, let's talk this out, let's have a discussion. Energetically speaking, that can be that prelude almost. You're feeling them around, they're coming through in the dream space. You're sensing them in your day-to-day reality, almost like their higher self kind of giving you these signs and indicators that may pop up throughout your day of like, yeah, they're thinking of you, they're coming in close, they're edging into that material reality with you, where you're not just going to have to be lost in the worst case scenarios, lost in your thoughts about sort of like, okay, where do we go from here? Is this the end? Is this a temporary pause? Is this, what's happening here? They're just as kind of frustrated as you are with how things have turned out, or how their actions have kind of created complications or hurt feelings, or just anything that's kind of wilted your energy in some sort of way. There's a sense of wanting to see you bloom, wanting to see you flourish, wanting to see you happy, and wanting you to know that you're very exceptional to them. You're their light. They reach for you. They gravitate towards you. Also say you have the most beautiful soul. Yeah, so this person sees you as like the exception to every rule they had about love in the past that would have caused them to be cautious, guarded, skeptical. Anybody that had kind of like ducked out on them when times got tough, or proved to only be sort of like a fair weather friend or family member or lover, that had created almost like a jadedness within them, or almost like they didn't really have high hopes for connections that can really stick it through all seasons of reality. You already have proved to be totally the opposite of that, just who you are as a person, your values, how you live your life, how you've showed up for them, how you've showed up for yourself and other people so far, that they almost feel kind of foolish, sort of like, what was I so scared about? Why was I so mistrusting that, of course this person loves me, of course they have affection for me, of course, we're building something with one another, and why shouldn't I be able to show up during my difficult times? Why do I always need to be the stoic one, or the one that carries all the weight, or the one that has it figured out? So this is somebody who's wanting to kind of open up and be a little more emotionally vulnerable, even if they don't necessarily directly kind of talk about those fears. It's almost like a step towards you again, and sort of a change in their approach is almost like an implied action of sort of like, okay, I was operating out of fear before, I'm softening and I'm now choosing the path of love, and so let me sort of like show you or demonstrate to you through effort, through consistency, through showing up, or even kind of opening up and trying to sort of rebuild slowly at whatever pace they can, at whatever pace you're willing to, at whatever pace is kind of like comfortable and feasible for the two of you. Let me kind of provide that or demonstrate that to let you know, like, I don't want to lose you. I don't want to lose us. I don't want to lose what we have and what we can become. So those are your messages. I hope that they resonated with you and that you enjoyed the reading. If you liked the video, please give it a thumbs up, comment, subscribe, or share. If you'd like a personal reading, I offer those through my Etsy shop, and there's a link to that in the description box of the video. I offer a variety of pre-recorded video readings, written readings, and channeled letters. Turnaround time on everything is 5 to 7 days from the time of purchase. I hope to see you again in another reading. Please take care and be well.